So, hello everyone. Today we'll do preamble again. This is the preamble of the Constitution, right? We'll discuss about the preamble of the Constitution. Now, the term preamble refers to the introduction or the preface of the Constitution, and it contains the summary of essence of the Constitution. And N.A. Palkhiwala, an eminent judiciary jurist and constitution expert, called the preamble as the identity card of the Constitution. That means who? It was N.A. Palkhiwala, right? N.A. Palkhiwala was the person who told that the it is the identity card of the Constitution. Again, the preamble to the Indian Constitution is based on the objective resolution drafted and moved by the Pandit Nehru and adopted by the Constitution Assembly, and it had been amended by the 42nd Amendment, Constitution Amendment Act of 1976, which added three new words. That means it added three new words: socialist, secular, and integrity, right? By 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. All right. So here it is. Let's move forward. A text of preamble. The preamble in the form of read. We, the people of India, have solemn resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. That means sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Right? Remember SSSDR. Democratic Republic is later on, E is later on, and SOSO is first, in which SOC is later on and SOV is first. Sovereignty is first, socialist and secular is later on, and democratic and republic is later on. And to secure all citizens of India and justice, social, economic, and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of nation. In our Constitution Assembly, this day, 26th day of November 1946, do here adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. That means they have adopted, enacted, and give to ourselves this Constitution. All right. So, what other words are there? Justice is there, liberty is there, equality is there, all right, as well as the fraternity, which was these all taken from the French Revolution. Now, justice is social, economic, and political. All right, this justice is social, economic, and political. Liberty is of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. All right, and equality of status and opportunities will be given, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of individual of unity and integrity of the nation. That means unity and integrity is at first sight. Now, the ingredients of the preamble. The preamble reveals four ingredients of the component. The source of authority of the Constitution. The preamble states that the Constitution derives authority from the. That means it derives authority from the people of India. Right? Nature of Indian Constitution declares India sovereign, socialist. Nature is also told, that is sovereign, socialist, secular, republic, sorry, democratic republic. All right, and objective of the Constitution. What its objects? To specify justice, liberty, and fraternity. It is its objective, right? And date and adoption along with that, the November 26, 1946 as date. So these are the four things which important ingredients of preamble. That is, first one is the source authority, right? Who gives the power? The people of India gives the power. Indian people gives the power, right? Nature of Indian state. What is the nature of Indian state? The sovereignty, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and the objective of constitution. That means the the authority of constitution, the objective of constitution, the date of adoption of constitution, and the nature of Indian state. All right. Again, keyword: certain sovereign, secular, democratic republic, justice, liberty are explained as follows. Now, if we talk about the sovereignty, right? Sovereignty means independence. So, where it is? Yes, as an independent state, no authority above it, and free to conduct its own affairs, both internal and external. So, this is the sovereign country. All right, independent. It is an independent state. It does not. This is no authority over it, and it is free to conduct its own affairs, both internal and external. Right. Now, though in 1949, India declared its continuation of her full membership in Commonwealth of Nation and accepted the British Crown as head of the Commonwealth. And this extra constitution declaration does not affect the Indian uh, sovereignty in any manner. That means being part of the Commonwealth nation doesn't affect the sovereignty of nation. Further, Indian membership in UNO was also no constituent a limitation on her sovereignty. Being a sovereign state, India can either acquire a foreign territory or cedate a part of territory in favor of a foreign state. Right? This is the true meaning of sovereignty. That either they can take it things from it or they can cede it out. Now, socialist. What is meant by socialist means they believe in socialist behavior, right? Now, Indian brand of socialism is democratic socialism and not a communist socialism, also known as state socialism. All right, and involves the nationalism on all means, nationalism of all means of product and distribution, abolition of private property, and democracy. Socialism, on the other hand, holds the faith in mixed economy, right? Democratic socialism is, it is a faith of mixed economy. That is, truly it is socialist means that the production and distribution of, or an abolition of the private property, originally socialist mean. But in democratic socialism, it is the faith in mixed economy, that means of both public and private sector coexistence side by side. All right, and Supreme Court says that democratic aims to uh, ignore disease and opportunities. And socialism is a blend of Marxism, Gandhism, and learn heavy from the Gandhian socialism, and leaning heavily towards the Gandhian socialism. Right? This is what the Supreme Court said about it. Again, uh, later it is also given 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 when it was added. Right? The Constitution has socialist content in form of certain directive principles of state policy as well. We have directives of state policies in the socialist form. We have socialist content, and moreover the Congress party adopted such resolution to establish a socialist pattern of society and Avadi sessions as early as 1955 and took measures accordingly. All right, socialist pattern in the Avadi session taken by the Congress, and the new economic policy of 1991, the liberalization, privatization, and globalization has, however, diluted the socialist credential of Indian state. Right. Then we have the secular. What is secular? Indian secular means respecting all religion without any way out. All right. It was again added in the 42nd Amendment Act of 1956, and Supreme Court said that the secular state was not express mentioned in the Constitution, and no doubt the Constitution wanted to establish such a state. And accordingly to Article 25 to 28 guarantees the fundamental rights of freedom of religion. Right? We have the freedom of religion, and it has been included in the Constitution. The Indian Constitution embodied the positive concept of secularism, that is, all religion in our country, irrespective of their strength, have same status and support from the state. Right? Now, democratic means democratic polity, establishment of preamble is based on the doctrine of popular sovereignty, that is, the possession of supreme power by the people. Democratic means everything will be based on the people, and democracy is of two types: direct and indirect. Right? And direct democracy, the people exercise their supreme power directly, as a case of Switzerland. Right? Indirectly, form they exercise the power directly, as a case of Switzerland, and there are four devices of the direct democracy, named as referendum, initiative, recall, and prelibect. right? These are the direct democracy. These are the four devices of direct democracy. But India, we don't follow these type of democracies. It's followed in the Switzerland. In indirect democracy, on the other hand, the representatives elected by the people exercise the supreme power and they carry out the government and make the laws. Right? This is the indirect democracy which India has. And this type of democracy, also known as the representative democracy, is of two kinds of parliamentary and the presidential. All right, we have the two kind of democracy, and this type of democracy was a democracy, representative democracy. All right, and this type of democracy is also known as representative democracy. That is, indirect democracy is also known as the representative democracy, and as the we have the parliamentary and the presidential democracy in it. Right, the Indian Constitution provide for the representative parliamentary democracy. Right, Indian Constitution provides the representative parliamentary democracy under which the executive is responsible for the legislature for its all policies and action. Right, executive is responsible to the legislature for all its policies and action. Universal adult franchise and periodic elections, rule of law, and independence of judiciary, and absence of discrimination, right, on certain grounds, and manifestation of democratic character of Indian polity. The term democracy used in preamble in a broader sense embedded that not only political democracy but also social and economical. That means we have political democracy and we have the social and economic democracy as well. Dimension was stressed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in conclusion of in conclusion and in Constitution Assembly norm that and political democracy consists not less than what I mean. What does social democracy means? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty. Liberty, all right, a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and the fraternity. And the principle of liberty, equality, and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items in Trinity, and they form a union of Trinity in a sense of divorce one from other in a defeat. The way purpose of democracy, liberty cannot divorce from equality, right? And from liberty and cannot be divorced from liberty. These all things. Not can liberty can equality divorce from fraternity. Without equality and liberty, would produce the supremacy of few other many more things. Without fraternity, liberty would reproduce the supremacy. Without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of few over the many. Equality without liberty would kill the individual initiative. Right? Liberty would. So these all things said by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. All right, on the November 25th, 1949. Anyhow, the Constitution aims the establishment of illegal social order and entails the economic political justice in a social and economic democracy of the Bharat Republic. All right, this is the Republic. Republic means democratic polity can classify into two categories: the monarchy and the republic. Right, in monarchy, the head of state, king or queen, enjoys the hereditary position, that is, they come office through succession, that is, Britain is an example of such thing. And republic, on the other hand, if I talk about the republic, they have the head of state is always elected directly or indirectly by the fixed period. Example, USA and India. Right? Therefore, the term republic in our preamble indicates that India had a elective head called the president, and he is elected indirectly. He or she is elected indirectly for a fixed period of 5 years. That means he has been selected, he has been elected indirectly for a fixed period of 5 years. And a republic also means two things: one, rest of political sovereignty in the people, not in single individual like a king. Second, the absence of any privileged class, and hence all public offices just being open for every citizen without discrimination. All right. Now, justice. Justice in preamble was three distinct forms: the social, economic, and political. Justice in preamble is of three types: social, economic, and political, and secured through the various position of fundamental rights and directive principles. All right. Social justice denotes the equal treatment of all citizens without any social distinction based on caste, creed, color, religion, sex, and so on. All right. So we treat every citizen equally, and it means that the absence of privilege being extended to any particular section of society. The improvement in the condition of backward classes, STs, SCs, and OBCs, and women. All right. So it means that the absence of privilege has been extended to any particular section of society. Improvement in the condition. They will also improve in the conditions of these backward classes and women. It means the justice. Now, economic justice denote the non-discrimination between the people on the basis of economic factors, right? This is the economic justice, meaning that they will improve. This is the social justice which I have talked about earlier. This is the economic justice which is I'm talking about, that there will be no discrimination based on their economic factors and elimination of glaring wealth, all right, income and property. And a combination of social and economic justice denotes what is known as distributive justice. That means social justice, combination of both social justice and economic justice denotes what is known as the distributive justice. Now, the political justice implies that all citizens should have equal political rights. Now, this is political justice which we are really talking about. That means equal opportunity rights, equal access to all political office, and equal voice in the government. Right? And the idea of justice, Russian Revolution they have taken. The idea of justice, that is social, economic, and political, has been taken from the Russian Revolution in 1970. Now, if we talk about the liberty, liberty means absence of restraint on the activities of individual, at the same time providing opportunities for the development of individual personality. That means liberty means the absence of restraining on the activities of the individual, and at the same time providing opportunities for the development of individual personality, right? Preamble secured that all citizens of India liberty of thought. They have the liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship, though their fundamental rights enforceable in court. Though their fundamental rights is right enforceable in court law in case of violation. All right. And liberty enables the preamble is very essential for the successful function of the Indian democracy system. And however, the liberty does not mean license to do what one's like, and has to be enjoyed within the limitation mentioned in the constitution itself, right? You're limited to the constitution. And in belief, the liberty conceived by the preamble of the fundamental rights is not absolute but qualified, all right. The liberty which is received, liberty conceived by the preamble or fundamental rights is not absolute but qualified. The idea of it is taken from the French Revolution, right? Liberty, equality, and fraternity in our preamble taken from the French Revolution. And then we have the equality. The term equality means that the absence of special privilege to any section of society, right? In providence of adequate opportunities, and there would be any discrimination, right? There won't be any discrimination. And the provision embrace the three dimension of the economic, civil, political, and economic justice. Equality will be civil, political, and economic, right? And the following provision of the chapter on fundamental rights ensured the civic equality. All right, fundamental rights is all about the civic equality. That is the equality before law. Article 14, the prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, and place of birth, caste, sex. All right, equality of opportunity in matters of public employment, and abolition of the untouchability, and abolition of the tilts. Now, the true provision in the Constitution that seeks to achieve political equality, one person is to declare ineligible for the inclusion in the electoral roll on grounds of religion, race, caste, and sex, and two, elections through the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies to be based on adult suffrage. That means this is the two provisions in the constitution which has been given, right? One, the first one is that the political equality based, no person would be declared ineligible for the insecurity electoral on the grounds of religion, caste, or sex, which is given in article 325. And second one, that the election to the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly to the basis of adult suffrage. Article 326. Documents of state policy, that is Article 39, secures to ensure secure to men and women equal rights and adequate means of livelihood. All right. Now we have fraternity. The fraternity means the sense of brotherhoodness, right? The Constitution promotes the feeling of fraternity. It is given in 51A, fundamental, also in fundamental rights, says that it shall be duty of every citizen to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhoodness. All right, we will promote harmony among the people of India, whether they are of different religion, linguistic, or religious sacrosanct. All right, and the preamble declares that the fraternity has assured two things. That is, the fraternity has ensured two things. First is the dignity of the individual and the unity of integration and the unity and integration of the nation. All right, and it was added in the preamble by the same 42nd Constitution Amendment of 1946. And according to K. Munshi, right, a member of drafting committee, Constitution says the dignity of individual signifies the Constitution not only ensured their material betterment and maintain a democratic setup, but it also recognized the personality of every individual in sacred. This highlighted through the fundamental rights, directives of state policy, right, and also the dignity given in the fundamental rights, dignity of individual. Further, the it also protects the dignity of women by stating that it shall be duty of every citizen in India to renounce the practice of derogation to the dignity of women, and also it is the duty of every citizen to uphold uphold the protect sovereignty of the nation. Okay, so it was said by the K. Munshi. He was part of the drafting committee, and the phrase "unity and integrity" of the nation embrace both the psychological and territorial dimension. That means we have they are dealing with both psychological as well as the territorial distinction of the Indian integration. Part one is the constitution describe the Indian as the union of state to make clear that there is no right to separate from the union, and implies that the indestructible nature of the Indian Union, and it aims to overcoming hindrance to national integration like communalism, regionalism, casteism, linguistism, secularism. All right, sessionalism, and the significance of constitution has been also been given. Though it is not that important, but we have to remember few of the names. All right, like Sir Allah Krishna Swami Iyer. All right, member of Constitutional Assembly who played a significant role in making of Constitution. The preamble to our Constitution expressed is what we thought of dreamed so long. He said this. Then there is K. Munshi. He said that the preamble is a horoscope of Indian sovereignty, in horoscope of our sovereign democratic republic. All right, Pandit Thakur Das Bhargava, another member of Constitutional Assembly, summarized the importance of the preamble on the word. Preamble is the most precious part of the Constitution, and it is the soul of Constitution. You also know it is the soul of Constitution. Who said it out? Pandit Thakur Das Bhargava, and it is the key to the Constitution. It is jewel studded in Constitution, and it is the proper yardstick which can measure the worth of the Constitution, right? And then Sir Ernest Barker, political scientist of the growing tribal political wisdom on authors, he described preamble as keynote. Preamble is a keynote to the Constitution, and he so moved by the text of the preamble that he quoted that the opening of book called Principle of Social and Political Theory. Right, he was moved by the words of preamble at opening of his own book. Preamble that he quoted it. Uh, okay, it quoted its opening of the popular book Principal Justice. All right, M. Hidayatullah. Okay, M. Hidayatullah, a former Chief Justice of India, observed that the preamble resembles the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, but it is more declaration. It is the soul of Constitution. It is the soul of Constitution, and it lays down the pattern of our political society, and it contains a solemn resolve. Nothing but a revolution can alter. All right, it is nothing but a revolution can alter. All right. Now, preamble as part of constitution. One of the controversies about the preamble, whether it's parts of constitution or not, the Berubari case, Berubari Union case of 1960 Supreme Court said that the preamble shows general purpose behind the several provision of the constitution. Thus, the key to the mind, one of the constitution maker. Further, we termed as articles are ambiguous and capable of more than one meaning, and some assistance to interpretation may be taken from the objective shrine of the preamble. Right. And in the Berubari case, the Supreme Court said that the preamble is not part of the constitution. But in Keshav Nanda Bharti case, in 1973, the Supreme Court rejected the earlier opinion and held that the preamble is part of the constitution, and it observed the preamble is not extreme. It is of extreme importance, and constitution should be read and interpreted in the light of grand noble vision of preamble. All right, LIC India case 1995 also. The Supreme Court again held the preamble is an integral part of the constitution. Right, again, later on, hence, the current opinion about the Supreme Court that the preamble is part of the nation and is consoles with the opinion of the founder fathers of the Constitution. However, the preamble is neither a source of power to legislature nor a prohibition upon the nor even the prohibition upon the power of legislature. It is non-justiciable, all right, and its provisions are not enforceable in the court of law. All right, on amendability of the preamble. The question whether preamble can be amended under Article 368 of Constitution arose first time in the history of Keshananda Bharti case, 1973. It urged that the preamble cannot be amended. That means the preamble cannot be amended. It is not part of the Constitution. Earlier, it was said that the petition contended that the amending power of the Article 368 cannot be used to destroy or damage the basic element of the fundamental features of the Constitution which are enshrined to preamble. Now, the Supreme Court, however, held that the preamble is part of the Constitution, and the court stated that the opinion tendered by the Berubari case in 1958. All right, Supreme Court said preamble is part of the Constitution, and the Constitution that the opinion tendered by the Berubari case in the regard was wrong. All right, and was held that preamble can be amended. That means preamble can be amended such to the condition that no amendment to the basic features. That means amendments cannot change the basic features of it. In other words, the court held that the basic elements of the fundamental features of the constitution can contain in preamble cannot be altered by Article 368. That means the basic features which have been given cannot be changed by the Article 368. The preamble has been amended only once so far. All right, in 1976 by the 21st Constitutional Act, which was added three words, that is socialist, secular, and integrity to the preamble, and this amendment was held valid. Now, this is the complete chapter which we completed on. And next is the union and its territory. All right, it is the part one of the Constitution. We'll talk about it later on in the next video. Though I will, we have already completed the. This is the preamble, which we'll do it later on in the next video. So thank you everyone for listening, and Jai Hind.